Hey, I wanted to make you a video today on a really interesting subject that I've been working on for a long time. It's called aging. You might have heard about it. It's when you start falling apart, your body gets old and you can't do anything and can't remember who you are, who anybody else is. That's called normal aging and going into the golden years of life and all this stuff. Doesn't really sound that great, and it's not. If you look around, you can see people who are involved in it, and generally they're not having a very good time. They're usually now thanks to the modern medical industry, they're also addicted to multiple toxic chemicals. I mean pharmaceutical medicines, right? No, they're just poison. And the doctors, if they have the right costume and the right condescending attitude and look like really authorities who know what they're talking about, which all they're doing is repeating what the the pharmaceutical scientific rep told them was true, and usually it's not even true. And they don't tell them what it's really going to do to you. And everybody's addicted to these things. And like Dr. Cousins was on our show, and he talked about toxic synergy, which means if you're taking more than one of these poisons, they interact and they're even worse than the additive amount, that they multiply the bad effects of each other. It's an amazing system. I mean, this is an incredible science fiction movie that we're in. Did you even know that you're in one? You thought this was real life, right? It's a sci-fi movie. We'll talk about that in a minute. But just to give you the idea of what I'm talking about, if you saw the movie Dune, you know that these guys have energy shields around them when they're doing these battles with the people from the other planet that they're fighting against. And Gurney Halleck, the martial arts instructor of Paul Muad'Dib, who's the star, says if somebody tries to stab you like really quickly or hit you, the shield will make it bounce off and you'll be okay. But if they move the knife really slow like this, it's going to go right through. And he warns him about this little flaw, that important safety tip about this energy shield thing. And he says the slow blade penetrates the shield. There's a reason I mentioned that quote, and that is that in what we call real life here, there are changes happening around you, to the environment, but also to your body and your brain and everything, which is actually part of your body. And it's very slow. And the changes are so slow that, yeah, it's a beautiful environment, huh? It's fall here. I wanted to be near the river, but not so close that it got too noisy. So this was my choice of spot. I hope you like it. Anyway, these changes that happen in your body are so slow that the mind just keeps recalibrating and says, it makes you feel like you've always been this age and this condition, looking like this and everything. But in reality, it's moving and moving and moving. And in what they call normal aging, gradually it gets really terrible. Your systems stop working, your organs give out, your brain stops working very well, your reflexes get slow, your joints hurt. I mean, it's horrible. And nobody fully notices it most of the time because it's so slow. And you keep recalibrating to your new position. And then one day you wake up and you're 90 years old and you say, wow, you know what? I actually feel terrible. Didn't really notice it because I was getting used to it. And I'm suggesting this is not necessary. You know what time-lapse photography is, right? It's like if you want to see a plant grow and not have to stand there for 6 months to notice it, you take a picture once a day or something and then play it back, and it looks like the plant's just growing up in a few minutes, and you can observe all the changes and the growth cycle and maturity and everything. Well, imagine you were doing that to your own body. You know, you look in the mirror, you don't see things changing, you just look like you look, right? And I'm not trying to get into a big emphasis on appearance like for a narcissistic or ego trip or something. It's because how you look reflects what's happening inside your body. I'm not talking about with makeup and all this stuff on. You know, rip that off and just look in the mirror at what you actually look like, your body actually looks like, your face and your body. If you imagine how you looked, depending on what age you are, like 20 years ago, and you put that next to it, and then morph it or time lapse it into what you look like now, then you start to get an idea, oh man, look what's happening. This is really going on. It's just slow, so it's hard to recognize. So if you compare yourself to how you looked 20 years ago, or, you know, don't do that if you're only 10, it's really difficult. But if you're like 30 or 40 or 50, you can do that and really see a change. And if you train yourself to observe better, looking at yourself in your body in the mirror, you can start to notice small changes that are happening and get more aware of what's going on with that. So nothing here is static in this environment, and your body isn't either. It's either getting better or it's breaking down. Your body and your brain are changing all the time, and there are processes going on, like the breakdown from friction and use and everything, and repair and rebuilding, mostly at night while you sleep. And when you compare the speed of the rebuilding with the speed of the breakdown, the body is either getting more and more broken down, which they call getting older, or it's actually getting younger, which is definitely possible. It's just not done much these days because we're making a lot of mistakes that accelerate the breakdown and impede the repair or the rebuilding or the youthing process. We make all kinds of mistakes, big mistakes and small mistakes that may go against the laws of nature here, the way this plane is put together. And all this added together with not giving the body what it needs too, all that is called aging. So if you understand the rules, here's my question and what I've been working on, what I'm still working on for a long time, many decades. I really seriously started in 1965 and have been going at it ever since. And the question is, if you know the rules of how things work on the physical dimension here, how much can you change aging? How much can you slow it down? How much can you reverse it? I really want to know, and the reason is not just for the game, but because whenever you leave here, the question is not so much how long you stay in this lifetime, but how you feel while you're here, what you can do, whether your body and your brain are working well enough to accomplish what you would like to do, or whether they're slowing down and deteriorating so much that you really can't do most of what you plan. And really you see that happening all over the place, and people start out in their life really enthusiastic maybe, and then get more and more cynical as they get older. And you see this in people, at most of the people at advancing age. Some try to be philosophical about it and say, oh, it's really beautiful, these are my golden years. Yeah, I can't move or think very well or remember anything, but yeah, it's really not. That's kind of denial of what's really going on. And it's well motivated, but if you want to change it, you have to actually let yourself be aware of where you're starting. So why would you care about any of this stuff? Because after all, making your body repair faster than it's breaking down, physiologically getting younger, it doesn't mean you're not going to die. But I'm not concerned about that too much, because dying is not what they tell you it is. You're not gone. You're not. Well, you may be gone from this environment, but you're still you, and you're still aware of you. I'll tell you later how I know this, but it's a slight disorientation, and then depending on all the images and experiences and actions you built up during your life, you go to a different environment, but it's still you, and you just reorient to a new form and a new environment, and you start learning there just like you're learning here. But that's not happening now. You're here now. That's why you're watching the video. So my purpose is, while you're here, why go through all this unnecessary misery and hell? You know, why not see how good you can feel? Pretty much everybody, even the people doing terrible things to others, they're all trying to feel good. Those guys are confused, and they think by hurting other people it's going to make you feel good. That's a big mistake, but that's another subject. Everybody's trying to feel really good. So my question is, okay, if you understood the rules of the game, how good could you actually make yourself feel and experience the rest of this life. Not like a drug, but way better than a drug. I'm saying something that doesn't hurt you, it doesn't wear you down, it doesn't hurt your mind or your body or anything, doesn't result in actions that hurt other people, doesn't wear off, and it feels great and it helps you. That would be attractive. So, even though normal aging is horrible, there's a lot we can do to totally change that. You remember I said you were in a sci-fi movie, and do you think I was kidding? I'm not kidding. There's a lot to learn by seeing it that way, or you could also see it as a video game that has rules of the game. I'm just suggesting, if you see it that way, learn the rules, learn the principles of how this physical dimension works, where we actually are here. If you've got a character, meaning your physical body, your personality, that you're playing in this role-playing game of that they call real life, learn about it and don't tear your character to pieces. That is not a good strategy. Okay, I'm no expert at video games. I haven't played them for decades, but I remember, I know what they're like, and you could get a character that is your character. That's what is happening in this real video game, okay? And if you don't know the rules, you're going to make mistakes and tear up your character for nothing. And it's not just gone, you're just going to be there suffering. It's horrible. People get depressed, commit suicide, get in all kinds of drugs. You really don't need to go through that. It's not necessary. If you're already in it, you can get out. The game is set up that way so that you can get out of problems that you've caused by mistakes. But the rulers who are in charge of this particular game that we're in, they don't want you to know the rules. Because if you play without learning the rules, they can control and kill you. I'm sorry, it's about, the rest is details. That's basically what they're up to. They're in the process of exterminating life on this planet in this game. They really are trying to do that. But they're doing it step by step by step, because according to what they believe, their characters believe, it's a ceremonial sacrifice of the whole biosphere. I'm not going to get into explaining the details of that now. You may have heard me talk about it before. But the fact that they have to follow their own rules, give notices, pass milestones, stuff like that, that buys you time. The game's not over, because they can't just wipe us out overnight right now. Otherwise they would have done that. So I'm saying, first step, learn the rules. Realize the game that you're in, the sci-fi movie that you're in, the video game, whatever way you want to see it. Learn the rules. If you don't learn the rules, you're guaranteed to make such terrible mistakes, you probably wipe out your character and never learn what it was capable of. So I'm saying, simple message of this video that I'm making right now, learn the rules. Aging, as they define it, is not necessary. It can be radically altered. You don't have to fall, your character doesn't have to fall apart. Learn the rules with yourself, or if you want a supportive group of people who are doing the same thing for real. And it's not just entertainment, you guys. This game's really happening. So if you want a supportive group to do this with, I'm going to show up there live every week. And you're personally invited. That's real. There are small dues which keep this work going. And if we get enough people in it, the dues will go to build a school. We're going to demonstrate what you can really do. This is not make-believe. This is real. Well, that's debatable. This is what we experience as real. So as long as you're in it, which is proved by the fact that you're here watching the video, learn the rules. Learn to apply them. There are certain rules that control how your mind works, how your body works, whether it's aging or getting younger. Everything that's happening here is cause and effect. It's all controlled by rules. This is the biggest secret of the rulers right now, that you should never learn the rules, and especially never learn who you are. Because guess what? You're not the character. Your character's really important, and you're responsible for how you use it, but it's not you. But you're intimately tied to it. It gets much more interesting. Learn the rules. If you want to do it with us in the group that I'm going to show up at every week, and do your little part to help us build the school and get this information out to everybody on the planet who's ready for it. And only maybe 1 in 1,000 is ready for this, because it's not a spectator sport. You're going to have to actually do some serious work in yourself. But you know what? It's the most exhilarating, most exciting thing that I have ever encountered. It's like way beyond any drug trip, and it doesn't hurt you. It does the opposite. It's incredible. So if you want to do that with us, join Planetary Healing Club. You can check it out at lostartsradio.com/club. And even if you don't join us, because as I said, this is not for everybody. You may not be ready. If you're seriously ready, not to stop just blaming everything on other people, situations, circumstances, that's never been the issue. That's the camouflage. The issue is inside you. If you seriously want to start doing that, and I don't mean a philosophy or a belief system or religion or anything, I mean something to transform your whole being, from your character all the way back to you. If you want to come and do that with us, I'd like to see you there. It'll be live interaction on this subject, and we're going to do this work every Saturday evening. And if you're in a part of the world where that's a bad time zone for you, as a member you get access to all the archives. It's very, very valuable, but only if you're ready. If you're not ready, it's pretty much a waste of your time. So decide, what point are you at? And if you are ready to start transforming yourself, physical all the way back to the other levels, I'll meet you there, okay? See you next time.